Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/JustNoMil. In today's episode, MIL is called the cops on FIL. MIL called the cops on FIL, update. MIL throws a fit and gets away with it. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. MIL is called the cops on FIL. Hey all, it's me again, back with more BS. After the whole events with MIL and talking to a lawyer, we spoke with my husband's therapist and have agreed that MIL will only have online contact with our daughter until further notice. She was obviously not happy about it, but she didn't care as long as she got to see her one way or another. FIL was getting sick again and has been getting chemo, so we agreed we would save money to make a trip to see them. The plan was to stay at the house, much to my dismay. And that MIL was going to be able to meet our daughter in person for this one time, for the sake of FIL. I wasn't happy about it, but I would do anything for FIL. Some really important information before I get into this next part. Years ago, there was a time when FIL was having an affair. That ended immediately and he hasn't done a thing since. Despite his affair, he greatly and immensely respects the hell out of women. I've never met anyone else who respects them but him. I'm not sure how long it's been, but MIL has also been having an affair as well, with who she calls best friend. She has bragged about it to me, says he's her first love. Whenever she visits New York, it's to see him and be with him. Why they haven't divorced by now, I have no idea. But this will be important later, just keep it in mind. Last Wednesday, MIL tried to frantically get a hold of husband. He was at work and can't have his phone on the floor, and I have her blocked, so she tried my dad with her other number. He relayed the message to me and I relayed it to husband, for whenever he gets to lunch and can see it. 5 minutes left to his lunch and husband tells me that according to MIL, FIL hit her. He got a quick relay from FIL and he said they bumped into each other. But he had to go back to work, so I was left wondering. I messaged FIL, asking for the full story. He said they were on the deck, stood at the same time and stepped at the same time and just bumped into each other. MIL panicked and called the cops on him. Once the cops got there, she acted like she was afraid of him and even told them that she was scared of him. They talked to FIL too and he's been at his mom's since. But MIL has been texting him and says she wants a divorce. Now, something didn't seem right to me. I knew MIL was unhinged and absolutely crazy, but I knew there had to be some kind of motive for her to try to ruin FIL's reputation. I unblocked her on Facebook and checked her profile, and confirmed MIL been tagging her lover in all this romantic lovey-dovey shit. I told FIL right away and he's known for a very long time. I guess MIL flaunts it or something at home. Husband knows everything, and as much as he believes FIL's side, he refuses to be on a side. He refuses to be a part of the situation and he's angry at the both of them. FIL understands his anger and told him he has a right to be angry. MIL is supposedly relieved he's not taking a side, but at the same time, she's fuming and constantly calls him every day to guilt him into being on her side. I still can't believe this is happening and I feel so bad for FIL. I told him to just go through with the divorce so he can be free. I know they have court coming up, I just don't know when. But I do know that MIL is currently with her lover to celebrate her birthday. And I've told husband staying at that house or letting MIL see our daughter is completely out of the question. That we will go see only FIL so he can see her when we can afford it. Other than all of this, I do plan on updating this once more information gets out. Or maybe after they go to court. So stay tuned because I'm pretty sure there are more coming. Your husband is naive. A woman who will call the police to her house and tell reputation-ruining lies about her husband, who she's been blatantly cheating on while he's undergoing chemo, will call CPS on you in a heartbeat when it suits her. It doesn't matter that your FIL had an affair years ago. He doesn't deserve to have his name slandered. I'd have to take my husband to joint counseling so he could explain to me why he thought having an emotionally abusive woman like your MIL in your lives was beneficial for your child. I was thinking this too. Or since Phil won't be around anymore, her son will become the new focus of her abuse. You accidentally posted your comment 3 times. He refuses to be a part of the situation and he's angry at the both of them. So your husband is mad at this dad who's currently living/has been living in an abusive relationship. Cool. I just relayed this comment to him and he said he's not mad at his dad per se, mostly just the situation. Sounds like she was hoping for a situation to arise so she can use it in court. I hope the cops saw through her crazy and documented that your FIL didn't harm her at all. She definitely doesn't deserve to ever set eyes on your daughter. One happy thing that will come out is your FIL will finally be free of her once it's all over. Hope he gets a shark of a lawyer and she gets hardly anything. Plus I would show the judge all the proof of her cheating over the years to show how much she deserves nothing. Oh wow. Your JustNoMil is a total train wreck. I admit, I'm very irritated by your husband when I read your previous posts and today's update. In the last 3 months his mother has given him several reasons why she should not have any relationship with your LO, and he should completely block her again. She threatened many times to take your child away from you. Just because the lawyer says she can't, does not suddenly make her safe or okay. It doesn't unsay her threats. Does he seriously want to introduce this mess into his child's life? So she can then harass your child in 15+ years just like she's harassing y'all? That woman ain't gonna change, and she'll eventually bring her drama to your child, when LO is older. Anyway, I imagine you feel this way, but more intensely. You did great talking to the lawyer. I'm sure that made y'all both feel better. But again, JustNoMil intent is still there. Is your husband okay with his mother trashing you and your parents this way? I just don't understand why he's glossing over that. It is a big deal and your feelings about it are valid. I guess I'm just commiserating with you. You seem very calm and patient, and understanding. I hope y'all are able to see FIL soon. And I hope that your husband packs his shiny spine so you've got backup when JustNoMil tries to bulldoze her way over. Question. Why does FIL care if JustNoMil meets your daughter? He knows she's a train wreck. So he'll be okay if, when JustNoMil is denied. Keep us updated. If Hubs insists on your child being around Mil, he better make sure he's in the same room with eyes on them at all times, or who knows, your kid might accidentally pull her hair or trip into her, like all babies do, and will be the next one she calls the cops on and cries abuse. LOL, I'm sorry, but someone that unhinged needs serious boundaries. Go visit FIL after he's got his own place, and don't bother visiting MIL. It sounds like the whole visit was because of FIL anyway, so you lose nothing. I'm not husband bashing. I read your other posts, maybe reflect on how your husband has acted. I saw so many red flags in both his actions and wavering on keeping you and LO as his top priority. Now maybe I'm not reading him right, but the moment he threw you under the bus about not moving in with MIL, continuing to have contact with her even with how she treated you and your parents and so eagerly willing to rug sweep. And if FIL is how you describe and after hearing his story he was still mad at FIL? Did he ever see FIL act in a way MIL would be afraid for him to stay there? There's a lot of moving parts going on here, but I don't think DH and you are on the same page. He obviously could have been raised to placate MIL, but if that's the case his therapist isn't working with all of the information or he's not a good therapist. Why would you allow someone who constantly threatens the unity of your family and is hell-bent on taking custody of your child, and has gone to the extent of speaking with a judge, have any sort of relationship with your child? Even though I highly doubt that she will succeed in getting what she wants due to her behavior and shenanigans, it is still a risk. I see why he had an affair, no judgment there. MIL called the cops on FIL, update. I don't even know where to start, honestly. But I will apologize in advance if this gets really long. There's just so much to go over, and I want to go over as much as I can. So, after everything went down, MIL was calling my husband continuously to guilt him onto her side. Saying things like, "I'm the one who stayed by your side, I'm the one who raised you by myself, it's always been the two of us." Now mind you, FIL was gone because he was stationed in Iraq to fight in the war. When he came back, he did come back as a different person. He's seen things and had to do things that will haunt him for the rest of his life. And I guess MIL used this to her advantage to make sure my husband and FIL's relationship would be strained. Because she put a lot of BS into his head. It wasn't until we moved out last year that my husband and FIL became close and closed the gap between them. About a week later, MIL falls and injures her back. And, bless his kind soul, but FIL went back to the house to take care of her. I guess the restraining order, found this one out recently, was revoked and they decided to live together as friends for some reason. But then, she focuses on my husband. She calls him and tells him how much I disrespected her when I lectured her about my husband's room when we first started dating. I cleaned his entire room by myself, and let me just say that in total, it took me 6 full hours. 3 hours on one side and 3 hours on the other side. I lectured her because she never taught him how to clean his room and let him get away with it. She also wanted my husband and our daughter to go see her and that I wasn't allowed to go, which, my husband disagreed with. She had other stuff to say, but I would go on forever about all of the sh*t she spat. So other than that, it was pretty quiet. Unfortunately, things didn't stay quiet for long. My husband had become severely depressed because of his mom and her actions, so his therapist recommended for him to go to the hospital. He did and was transferred to a mental institution. That was on Friday. He told me he was only going to save my number and his job's number, and that he didn't want his parents to know. Everything was dandy until my mom got a voicemail from my MIL, looking for my husband. I told my husband, he can make phone calls, and so he called his mom. He told her where he was and she had a major meltdown and hung up on him before he could tell her that he was in there because of her. She berated a few members of my FIL's family on Facebook, so I was told, so I messaged my husband's aunt and I found out from her that MIL had been previously harassing his grandma. Constantly calling and leaving insults and threats. Harassing anyone who isn't on her side. His aunt also believes that MIL and her boyfriend are scheming to get the house. I called FIL to see what's been going on, and I guess on Sunday, MIL called the cops 4 to 5 times on him. The cops are on FIL's side, luckily. Especially when MIL started swearing and insulting the cops. She even assaulted FIL, but he didn't press charges, surprisingly. FIL left to go stay at the campgrounds, which is half an hour from the house. We talked for a while and FIL was just at a loss of what to do. I told him he needs to serve her the papers, and just be done with her. And he agreed. I told my husband everything, and he was just heartbroken for his father, so I hung up so he can talk to him. A few hours later, I try and video chat FIL so he can see my daughter. He gave me a big update. MIL has been arrested. I guess she continuously called the cops and harassed them about FIL being dangerous, to the point where they went to arrest her. But she resisted arrest. She went kicking and screaming, throwing insults, cursing at them. They had to carry her hands and feet. FIL only knows because of the roommate they have at the house. He gave me the choice to tell my husband, and I told him because it's something he needed to know. After all of what's happened, he's seriously considering cutting MIL off. I told him it would be best because grandmother or not, she doesn't deserve to know our daughter after everything that she's done. I don't know what will happen next. But we're hoping maybe she will open her eyes after spending a night or maybe a few nights in jail. I'm not sure how long she'd be in there for. If anything else happens, I will try to update if I can. But if not, maybe it's best and we can finally close this long and horrible chapter. I'm pretty certain this time that my husband will cut the cord. But thank you for reading and I'm sorry if the post is everywhere. Hopefully I won't have to post about my MIL again. After all of what's happened, he's seriously considering cutting MIL off. This is what breaks the camel's back. That woman did a hell of a number on your husband's mind. What a psychopath. I hope he is able to deprogram with lots of therapy to untangle the enmeshment his monster inflicted upon him. Gosh, you guys have been through the ringer, the only thing I have is, cut her out now. Good Lord, your husband is an inpatient receiving treatment, from what you tell us, directly attributed to her, and I have no reason to disbelieve you, and she has threatened to take your child, hell's bells. I wish you all the best for all of you, including your FIL. Oh my. That's quite an update. I'll admit, I'm really glad JustNoMil was finally arrested. I'm glad she resisted. I'm glad it's all on the record. Because that pretty much destroys her credibility, false allegations, and establishes a history of mental instability. So if she ever does make false allegations to CPS about y'all, they can see that she has a pattern of making false accusations. I'm so sorry that your husband is struggling with his mental health. It's a good thing that he's taking it seriously, and sought out treatment. Being inpatient can seem daunting at first, he was brave to go. I really hope he's doing better. I'm sure it's been rough on you. Him being gone, basically being a single parent, worrying about your husband, dealing with JustNoMil drama, worrying about your FIL, etc. on top of everything else you already do every day. Don't forget to take care of yourself, mama. Keep us updated. Sounds like MIL has decided to detonate her life, what often gets termed an extinction burst here. When someone does this, trying to help them is like trying to fill up a leaky bucket with your tears. Hopefully your husband has the sense to stay clear, save his tears and keep you out of it too. The day a mother-in-law sends me to the hospital that's sick, I'm so sorry. Stick by your spouse. Wow. JustNoMil really messed up bad. Getting arrested by the police because she fought them means she's really a dangerous woman to be around. I sure hope your DH cuts the cord now because she shouldn't be allowed in your lives at all. I really hope your DH gets well soon, too. Wishing your little family all the luck in the world. Hope you and your family flourish after all this. No one deserves this amount of mistreatment and abuse. It sounds like MIL was dedicated to her BS all the way to the bitter end, if she physically fought the cops. She needs some serious reflection while she's in jail, because her situation is not a joke. She is definitely facing charges for resisting arrest at least, and it will get worse for her if she chooses not to shape up when she gets out, since she now has a record. I hope your husband feels better soon. Best wishes that you, your DH, and FIL will be allowed to heal in peace. Your daughter's love for her daddy and grandfather will be a good focus point for them. MIL throws a fit and gets away with it. Hi all, long-time lurker, first-time poster. As background, I've been with my husband for 11 years. His mother has never been very kind to me, so I tend to try to keep my distance from her. DH and I finally eloped about a month ago. No guests were invited, although our families were told of our plans in advance. MIL was very upset. Refused to talk to DH on our wedding day, never said anything to me directly, etc. She did eventually apologize for being an ass after a few days. While we were on our honeymoon, MIL got it in her head that we should celebrate by going to her house for dinner and champagne when we came back. I was not comfortable and tried to tell her no, and that I didn't want to do that, but DH didn't back me up and so MIL steamrolled my refusal. We ended up having to postpone her big celebration and she had a complete meltdown. She left the champagne and our wedding gift on our porch without saying anything and started texting DH all of this BS about how we, more specifically I, don't like her and never want to do anything with her and FIL, and so on and so forth. She demanded a family meeting. DH said no because at that point I was livid and he knew I would go nuclear if given the chance. He told me he'd handle it himself. So he goes over to MIL's house and she basically tells him, "I'm going to wait until you initiate plans for us to get together because I hate when you guys say no or postpone." And that was it. So here's my question, does anyone else here feel like she's set herself up to be the victim later if we don't initiate plans? DH seems to think I'm overreacting, but I'm not so sure, and I'm not sure how to get myself out of the corner I've been stuck in here if so. The whole thing is just a frustrating mess and I'm really displeased with the resolution DH and MIL came to, if you can even call it that. Sigh. Yep. It's a setup. MIL wants you and DH to chase her and fawn over her. When you don't do it enough or on the timeline she has set in her head, she will lash out. She wants you to play a game but only she knows the rules and she gets to change them whenever she decides she isn't getting enough attention. The resolution doesn't feel right because it doesn't actually resolve anything. DH fell for it because he thinks MIL was being sincere. You know she wasn't and that this plan of theirs just delays the inevitable. I personally would not initiate plans right away but wait 6 to 8 weeks before I'd initiate something, and this would not be wedding related. Wedding is done. She added her part. I'd cover this topic in silence. She's getting no celebration at all. And I'd gift her the exact same champagne for Christmas. But that's my petty me. If she complains, you have jobs and other commitments. She wanted you to initiate something, then she needs to wait until you're available. The champagne thing made me laugh. While I don't think I could gift it directly, it's not even good champagne, maybe I'll bring it along to a family Christmas party or something in the future, LMAO. His family his problem. You do not have to engage. Go NC and let DH deal with his mom, he's probably using you as a meat shield. The resolution is simple. When anyone asks, we decided we didn't need such a celebration. MIL was the only one who wanted that type of party. We didn't even want it. When the time comes, remind him that she will go nuclear and this will be your response. When you want, plan the low-key or whatever type of celebration you want. You now control the situation either way. Because she said she will wait, remind her of that and take your time to do what you want. She doesn't realize it but you now are in total control. When she pushes, I do believe that you agreed to wait for what we plan. It is our choice. Not yours. Every time she brings it up. Thank you to everyone who commented so far, and to everyone who might comment in the future, for your thoughts and suggestions. I think I will probably have to take a hard line with DH about how much contact I want to have with MIL. I've done that in the past to an extent, but I've always ended up wavering/bending my own rules out of concern that I'm putting DH in a bad position as the middleman in my sh*t relationship with his mother, even though it's literally his job to be a buffer for me lol. DH has definitely improved over the years in terms of having a spine, but he hates conflict, and tends to get upset with me if I suggest that I don't want to have a close relationship with his parents. I don't think he really sees his MIL's behavior as egregious enough to warrant going low/no contact. Guess I will just have to put my foot down. Thank you all again. it is so helpful to know that I'm not alone here. Now seems like the perfect time to let MIL know that you and DH are each responsible for your own families in regards to making plans and setting up visits, remembering birthdays, gift buying for the holidays and writing thank you notes for joint gifts. That way when DH forgets Mother's Day or doesn't ask her to meet for dinner, she will know that the blame isn't with you. Be sure to point out that DH isn't responsible for reminding you when it's your mother's birthday. Check out the resources, links, especially the tips for protecting yourself. Yes, I'd say she is getting ready for major victimhood, and she is only going to get worse. Hard as it is to hear, this is your husband's problem more than hers. He could and should set hard limits with her. And if he tolerates her shit talking about you, he is failing as a husband. Read other stories on this sub and insist that your husband does as well. For your part, there is nothing to keep you from simply going NC with her on your own. She hates you anyway, so what does it matter? You can set your own limits with your husband, like do you want to see her at all? Are you willing to see her occasionally? Under what circumstances? You certainly don't owe her any explanation. Just do what is going to help you have less stress about her. Good luck, OP. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.